functional medicine physician and an autoimmune patient. So, we are here to tell stories, share hope and healing, and combine the best of all the worlds of healing and support to empower you to help you feel your best. And if you have autoimmunity of any kind and you're taking immune suppressants, you might be wondering what kind of natural support you should be using, or more importantly, avoid. So, this podcast is for you. Today, I'm going to tell you my herbal horror story and why you just shouldn't listen to the majority of, honestly, health coaches, quote, functional quote, coaches, whatever those are, and the majority of people that you see on social media just giving really general advice. Um, Honestly, you're going to have to deal with the fact that most of my podcasts or lives are going to start with, so I saw this TikTok, and this happens in real life too. I feel really embarrassed about it. I gotta find a different way to be like, hey, so I was reading, but honestly, TikTok has some great information, but also is mostly for fun for me. But I also, of course, because of what I do, my algorithm tends up being a lot of natural quote coaches and people who are sharing information. So I'm sorry that I get inspired by this, but here we go. Now, I'm not going to call out the specific creator that really pissed me off or the 10 people that followed that video mimicking what they heard from him or other people, nurses on TikTok, but I was watching these as literally this past weekend. I was laying in bed, crying in pain, wondering what I'm gonna do. Like, am I gonna throw up or die? Am I gonna go to the hospital? Am I gonna wait it out? And then here I am on TikTok just trying to kill time and dissociate. And what these people were telling their TikTok followers was that autoimmune disease is just an inflammatory disease. And if you support your immune system, you're going to reduce the inflammation. And I just like wanted to throw my phone across the room because it's so wrong on so many levels. We have these super uneducated, ignorant assholes telling a regular person to use herbs to improve their immune system, to reduce inflammation and everything they have wrong. And the reality is that there is an autoimmune issue. And autoimmunity means when the immune system gets confused. And we'll go into a million reasons why in a different podcast, but the immune system then attacks the tissues of the body, like Hashimoto's, where the immune system attacks the thyroid, or for me, like Crohn's and colitis, my immune system attacks the lining of my large intestines. And this is what causes the inflammation. Inflammation is not necessarily the trigger of autoimmunity. They have it completely backwards. So, anyways, here's my horror story. I was doing some research and reading about the weight loss medication that's the rave right now, essentially semaglutides. You might know it as Wegovy or Ozempic. There's a lot of different products out there right now. And I was looking at the research on natural and herbal support that matches what these medications can do on a chemical and a hormone basis. And I did a great Facebook Live on it in my functional medicine community. Come join us. The link is in the description. It's where I go live. I do most of my education. But one of the main herbs that has been studied is yerba mate. Now, I talked a lot about inositol and berberine, and I have no problem with people who need Wegovy or Ozempic or these medications. I think my premise on that Facebook Live is that it's great that we're understanding that weight gain is hormonal. I mean, with leptin and ghrelin and insulin and how our brain is functioning, it's not a calorie issue the majority of the time. So I think we're making great strides, and the medication can be really helpful for a lot of people. But I also wanted to know, like, what does the research and the science say about these different types of herbs? So yerba mate, I was reading about how it impacts inflammation. It's cardioprotective. It works on hunger and fat storage hormones, like I said, leptin and ghrelin and insulin, so much good stuff. And of course, these were higher doses. There were some rat studies, some human studies. And I was like, okay, well, Me being the experimenter I am, I ran out, grabbed a few options of this tea, and I got a can of a brand and a couple different things to try. And then I also researched that I wasn't going to be acting on the TH1 portion of my immune system, so it wouldn't flare my ulcerative colitis. And when I was looking up yerba mate specifically, it doesn't modulate that part of the immune system. It works on a different part. So I was like, oh, I'm totally going to be safe. This is going to be great. Maybe it'll help me with my insulin resistance and give me some more energy. And here I am. I drank the whole bottle. It wasn't a large can. It was fine. I felt great. I'm like, oh, this even tastes good. How wonderful. We have these options. I didn't expect to lose like 10 pounds. I don't expect it to work like those medications. Don't get me wrong. But I thought, if I could tolerate this, this might be a great option to add to my repertoire, my list for insulin resistance, as well as something potentially safe for autoimmune patients, because that is the majority of people who I see. And holy shit, was I wrong? Oh my God. I was so wrong. I had no idea. So the next morning, so Friday, drank the tea in the waiting line to pick up my kids at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The next morning, my family and I did a fundraiser color run with our neighborhood and the high school for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. I felt so great during that walk. I was pumped up, like, wow, I should do more 5Ks. And then on the way home at like 11:45, so somewhere around like 20 hours after I had that drink, I got so sick. I felt like I was going to die of pain. I knew it was an ulcerative colitis attack. I knew that my gut was just on fire. It felt like it was getting stabbed. It was just horrible. I was in so much pain. I started crying. I had to take my pain medications. I took my THC pain gummies. I used heat. I tried to walk. I tried to sleep. Nothing would touch it. The pain was incredible. So at first, I blamed it on the walk, and I thought maybe I was too stressed out. Like, I hate doing new things. I'm not like the social person. I was so worried about like how busy is it going to be? Where are we going to like I get really nervous about those things. Hello anxiety, right? So I thought, well, Allison, you're just so stressed out. And I'm like, well, I wasn't that stressed out. So I'm like, okay, look back. What have I done this past week? And I was like, oh my God, I had that yerba mate drink. Let me look at this research again. Let me see if I can find anything. And so yerba mate stimulates one of our protective immune cells in a good way. And one of the main ones is TNF alpha, also known as tumor necrosis factor. Incredibly important part of our immune system. This little guy goes around and he finds tumors, kills them, and helps us stay healthy. Hence the name tumor. So it's looking for cells that are damaged. Necrosis, meaning death. So tumor necrosis, so tumor killer. And that's wonderful. So good. Well, the main medication that was keeping me alive was Inflectra, which is also known as Remicade. And the main job of that medication is to suppress TNF alpha, which is why all of the warnings, maybe you see the commercials on these immune suppressants and they're like, warning, side effects include cancer and death. And yes, because if you get rid of the immune support that fights tumors, you're more likely to develop cancer with these medications. This is the reason why. So I'm looking and oh my God, Allison, I took a drink, an herb, and that was the only thing in it. There wasn't any like fillers or sweeteners. It was just juice and the tea and water. It wasn't even carbonated. That increases the level of TNF alpha. And I set myself into a 2-day flare. I didn't even think about it. I just was like, well, if it doesn't affect TH1 or TH2, which I'll talk about here in a second, I'll probably be fine. So now if you're like me, you have autoimmunity, maybe Hashimoto's, Crohn's, colitis. This also includes rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, name any other autoimmune issue. And you see these people talking about like echinacea, ashwagandha, rhodiola, like, oh my goodness, just go out and grab some of these herbal supplements because some dude on TikTok or me, because I'm on TikTok too, told you that it's your immune system is inflamed because it's all like your autoimmunity is just inflammation. If you just need to take all these herbs and you're gonna feel better, and then you're gonna be like me, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I'm dying, my all my hair is falling out, or I'm so tired I can't pick myself off the floor, or you're in pain, you have a flare. So you really need to know what you're looking at when you look at herbs. Herbs are powerful. They make powerful changes in your body. So to simplify the issue here, and one of the main things that I want you to take away from this is that our immune system is incredibly complex. But when we look at autoimmune, I like to look at the two main things, TH1 and TH2 dominant autoimmune issues. So if you think of TH1 and TH2, they're kind of on a seesaw, and like one goes up and then down, and they kind of just work together, and they manage our inflammation, they manage our immune system, and they talk to each other. But at some point, whatever trigger that may be, chemical, emotional, spiritual, dietary, toxicity, viral infections, things like that, one of that seesaw size is going to get kicked up. And so for me with colitis, mine is TH1 dominant, which means if I take anything that supports TH1, I cannot handle it. My colitis will go into a massive flare. I will be so sick. And what I will do is I'll put that list in the description for you so you have it. You can reference this and you can hang on to it. So, just like the time when my friend muscle tested me. She's a functional medicine doc. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Allison, your Epstein Barr's back. You need like your body's staying muscle testing for Astragalus herb. You need to take like 6 of these a day." And I was like, "I'll tell you, I'll do whatever you tell me to do." And it took 3 days with that one. But after 3 days, again, I was in bed in shocking amounts of pain, going, "What happened?" And then I went back and looked at my list. I was like, I totally forgot that astragalus is a TH1 stimulant, and it kicked up my colitis. Oh my gosh. So we have to be really smart. So if you have autoimmune disease and you're on medication that suppresses immune factors, like medications like Inflectra, Humira, Remicade, you might not do as well with herbs that support TNF alpha because they're contradicting each other. If you're on medications that suppress interleukins like Stelara, you might not do as well with herbs that stimulate interleukin 10 and 12 and 6. If you're not on medications, you're not on immune suppressants, and you're able to manage your issues and symptoms through food and lifestyle and diet, and you're doing amazing. That's awesome. You still might not respond well with these herbs. So, oh my God, be careful. And I know it's really tempting because I just got a book about chronic illness written by this MD, and um, it's really great. But he's like, everybody has Lyme. He's one of those docs who's like, it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter your symptoms. It's going to be Lyme, and you're going to have to take these herbal supplements. It's going to be a lot of money. And that's not necessarily true. So be very careful. But you know what? You don't know until you know, right? And I'm a major believer in being the biggest participant in my own health. I'm not going to sit around and just hope I get better. I'm going to work on my diet. I'm going to mix up my supplements and make sure I'm taking the right things. I'm going to try and find what works. I'm going to keep working on my exercise and my sleep. I'm going to make mistakes like I did with the yerba mate and the astragalus, but I know I'm going to keep experimenting, and I'm going to keep trying. And one day I might find the magic support for me. I won't say cure, but wow, if that happens, when I finally find what I need, I'll let you know. But everyone is going to react differently, and I'm going to have to go through a lot of horrible experience to try before I find out what helps. And that sucks. And you might be feeling the same way, like, oh my God, every time I try something new, I just get worse. Okay, well that sucks, and I feel you, right? Like I'm still feel like I'm reeling from and that was like 5 days ago now. So it's okay because you're still trying. So keep trying new things. Don't give up. Keep searching for answers. If you find something that you're like, yeah, I really want to try this herb because I read somewhere, or hop on the research hub, which is pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov, and look up the herb, your symptoms, maybe your disease classification, and see how things are interacting and affecting. And always, 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 did I say always enough? Always double check your herbs against your medications. Make sure there's no contraindications. That's, of course, super important to do. Very, very, very smart thing to do. But I encourage you to keep trying, keep learning, ask for help, don't give up. Even if you make a mistake and you feel like, oh my God, I'm never going to find something that works, you will. We're just making a list of all the things that aren't working and figuring out why, right? So instead of just going, oh, coffee makes me really sick, or the supplement isn't helping my thyroid, well, you might find out that um, it has ashwagandha in it, and ashwagandha actually makes Hashimoto's worse sometimes. So let's figure out what helps support your health the best without having to hurt yourself. Okay. Don't give up. I'm not giving up. I'm still going to be here making mistakes, drinking silly things. Oh, and I have two last things I want to say. If you do try a new herb and it's not contradicted with any of your medications, awesome. Try to single it out. Don't go out and buy, say, you want to try Echinacea and see if that works. Well, get just that herb. Don't get one with 15 other things in it, because you won't know if it helped or it didn't, or if that's what made you sick or it didn't. And really go slow. Start with low doses. Give yourself some time. If you have any symptom changes that are bad, just stop taking it and just start making a list of what works and what doesn't work, and reference what I said below. And look at that list that I'm going to put up for you, as well as far as like the major herbs to avoid. And you might have to do a trial push. So Apex Energetics has two products that are, one is for TH1 and one is for TH2, and we have mini bottles, and you can do a challenge, and you take that first bottle, that TH1 bottle, and be like, wow, I feel so good. I feel amazing. Or if you were me, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I need to stop taking this right away. Or then you take the TH2 and you either say, wow, I feel amazing, or oh my God, I feel like I'm going to die. And that way you know which one you are, because otherwise there's no way to test with blood work or test with any other functional testing. You just have to experiment and figure it out. Okay. Thank you so much for being here and listening to my story, and I hope you find some help and support in this and some education as far as how your body works with herbs and your immune system and why they may or may not help. If you're looking for personalized care, you can schedule with me. Make sure to follow me on socials. And join my Facebook group so you can catch me live, ask me questions right then and there, and get yourself taken care of. Make sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned with all of my weekly podcast episodes. Bye.